He was using her for clout. He didn't really like her.
Firing the shots that ultimately ended King Von's life. That arrest sparked a firestorm of reactions across the hip-hop world, with fans, artists, and media outlets all weighing in. Many saw it as a tragic and senseless loss, especially given Von's rising status in the rap game. But now, with Von's sister Kayla B coming forward, there's a whole new layer being added to the narrative, and it's raising eyebrows. In her explosive social media rant, Kayla B didn't hold back. She claimed that Von never truly had feelings for Asian Doll, the rapper and influencer who had long portrayed herself as Von's ride or die. According to Kayla, the whole relationship was more PR than passion, a clout move on Von's part, meant to boost his image and keep his name buzzing. He told me he was using her for clout, she claimed. He didn't really like her. That statement alone would have been enough to stir up drama. But what really sent the internet into overdrive was Kayla's implication that this fake relationship and possibly some bitter fallout may have contributed to the chaos that led to Von's death. While she didn't outright say Asian Doll set Von up, her tone and wording left the door open for wild speculation, and fans ran with it. Social media lit up with theories. Some suggested that if Asian Doll did find out Von wasn't really into her, she may have passed information along that put him in a vulnerable position. Others pushed back hard, defending Asian Doll and accusing Kayla B of using her brother's death to stir unnecessary drama. But setting the relationship gossip aside, the facts of the night Von died are still grim and grounded in street tension. Surveillance footage backs up what many already knew, that this wasn't a planned hit, but a spontaneous street fight that escalated fast. Von ran up on Quando's crew. Fists flew, and in the confusion, guns came out. Lil Tim, possibly, acting in defense of Quando Rondo, let off shots, hitting Von fatally before the off-duty police could intervene. Still, Kayla B's rant has reopened wounds and forced fans to re-examine everything that led up to that night. Was it just beef? Was it love gone sour? Or a perfect storm of betrayal, street politics, and bad decisions? Whatever the truth may be, King Von's death marked a turning point in hip-hop, a sobering reminder of how real the streets can get, even for artists on the brink of superstardom. With his sister now fueling the narrative with personal claims, the conversation is far from over. And as always, we'll keep you updated as more unfolds in this complex and emotional saga. Jumping into the drama for clout, at least not entirely. Kayla B has long made it clear she sees herself as the gatekeeper of Von's legacy, and she doesn't take lightly to anyone, especially exes, trying to rewrite their history or capitalize on his name. That's why every time Asian Doll makes a post about Von, drops a tribute, or refers to him as her soulmate, Kayla is usually right there, ready to clap back with receipts and raw emotion. Back in 2020, just days after Von's tragic death, Kayla was already calling out folks she felt were disrespecting him, starting with that mortuary employee who leaked his autopsy photos online. That whole situation triggered a huge backlash, with fans demanding justice and accountability, echoing Kayla's all-caps rage, "We need him fired now." That moment set the tone for how she would handle anything and anyone she felt was tarnishing her brother's name. But what's got the streets really talking now is Kayla's renewed attack on Asian Doll. In this latest rant, she paints a picture of a woman down bad, broke, clout-chasing, and possibly even manipulative. She claimed Asian was financially struggling when she first linked with Von, saying, "You was in Atlanta down bad." I know. To fans who've seen Asian Doll portray herself as Von's queen and eternal love, Kayla's words hit hard and cast doubt on that whole love story. The messy fallout between Kayla B and Asian Doll isn't just about two women beefing. It's become a symbolic battle over who really knew Von, who really had his back, and who deserves to speak on his name. Kayla, with her growing platform and loyalty to her brother, has made it her mission to check anyone she believes is exploiting his legacy, and that includes Asian Doll. Whether fans believe her or not, she's influencing the conversation and forcing people to take another look at the timeline and relationships surrounding Von's death. That being said, while Kayla's outspokenness is raw and often emotional, it reflects the deep pain and unresolved grief that still lingers for many close to Von. Her posts might stir controversy, but they also shine a light on how messy, public, and painful the aftermath of a celebrity death can be, especially when the lines between real love, loyalty, and social media clout are all tangled up. As for what really happened the night King Von died, the facts remain rooted in that violent altercation outside Monaco Hookah Lounge. Lil Tim's charges, the surveillance footage, and the autopsy report all tell part of the story. But the emotional aftermath, the family rifts, the legal drama, and the online firestorms, those are still unfolding. And with Kayla B not backing down anytime soon, we'll probably keep hearing new bombshells that complicate how fans remember King Von, both as a rapper and as a man, was two completely different dudes. And that right there is the root of why this Kayla B versus Asian Doll beef hits so deep. Not just for them personally, but for the fans who still feel the weight of King Von's legacy. From Kayla B's perspective, she's not just grieving her brother. She's protecting his name, his image, and what she believes is the truth about who he was and who really loved him. So when she sees someone like Asian Doll posting tributes, dropping tears on live, and calling herself Queen Von, it probably hits her as performative or even disrespectful, especially if, as she claims, Von himself told her that relationship was for clout. But then, flip the script and look at it from Asian Doll's side. She didn't just love Von in private, she showed the world. Multiple tattoos, music videos, emotional tributes after his death. She's worn her grief on her sleeve and has been very vocal about the pain of losing him. If her connection to Von was real in her heart, then hearing his sister publicly deny that love years after his death probably feels like being stabbed twice, once by the loss and again by the disrespect. So where's the truth? Honestly, it's probably somewhere in the middle. Von was known for having a lot going on behind the scenes. He had the street pressure, the fame coming fast, and a personality that could be both deeply loyal and mad chaotic. Those around him saw different sides. His sister saw the family man, the protector, maybe the one confiding doubts or frustrations. Asian saw the partner, the artist, the raw emotion. And both of them are still carrying that loss in their own way. But the part that keeps fans talking and headlines spinning is how personal grief has turned into public war. What could have been a united front honoring Von's memory has become a split narrative. And in this age of Instagram lives, interviews, tweets, and viral soundbites, every jab, every tear, every "he told me this" moment gets amplified until it feels like fans are forced to pick a side. At the end of the day, though, all this shows is how complicated death can be, especially for someone like King Von, whose life touched so many, in so many different ways. His legacy lives in the music, in the stories from the people who knew him, and in the pain that still ripples through the lives of those he left behind. Whether Kayla B and Asian Doll ever squash the beef or not, the real focus should be on the cycle of violence, grief, loyalty, and legacy that King Von's life and death represent. King Von may have been hailed as one of the most respected rappers in the game, but beneath that image was a man driven by a cold, calculated determination, known for his ruthless approach to life. His name wasn't just synonymous with music. It was tied to a darker reality, one where violence and death had become part of his legacy. When he was taken from us, it wasn't just a loss for his friends and family. It was a seismic shift that rippled through the rap world, amplifying the beefs and grudges that had long been simmering beneath the surface. But here's the twist. The altercation that led to Von's death wasn't some spur-of-the-moment street fight. It was the culmination of years of bitter tension between some of the biggest names in rap. What many don't realize is that Von's clash with Quando Rondo's crew wasn't just a random encounter, it was the tipping point of a much larger feud. This beef, which involved Von's Only the Family Squad and NBA YoungBoy's Never Broke Again camp, had been brewing for years. What unfolded that fateful night was the product of deep-rooted animosity fueled by street politics, rap, rivalries, and personal drama. At the heart of it was the tension between Von and NBA YoungBoy. This wasn't just about music. It was a volatile mix of gang affiliations and personal vendettas. Von was linked to the Black Disciples, BD, a notorious Chicago-based gang, while YoungBoy's NBA crew was tied to rival factions. These opposing street ties created a simmering resentment, which found its way into their music, heightening the stakes of their rivalry. Then there was the animosity between Lil Durk, Von's right-hand man, and NBA YoungBoy. This rivalry had been brewing since 2017, starting as a competitive back and forth in music, but escalating over street issues. Von, ever loyal to Dirk, found himself caught in the crossfire of a battle that was about more than just lyrics and beats. And adding fuel to the fire, rumors suggested there was personal beef between Von and Youngboy, rooted in jealousy over a woman, a detail that only intensified the already fraught relationship between the two. What started as a series of musical and personal disputes soon evolved into something far darker and more dangerous, and Von's tragic death was the inevitable result of this explosive mix. The beef between King Von and NBA Youngboy took a deeply personal turn when rumors swirled about Von's involvement with one of Youngboy's exes. What had begun as a rivalry rooted in street politics and music escalated rapidly into something far more intense. No longer just a professional rivalry, it became a matter of pride, disrespect, and emotions running high. The tension between these camps wasn't just for the social media headlines. It was real, personal, and carried consequences that would affect their lives in ways no one could predict. Throughout 2019 and 2020, Von and Youngboy threw subtle shots at each other, through their social media, creating an ongoing narrative that only fueled the fire. In one interview in 2020, Von downplayed the situation, but made it clear he wasn't backing down, saying, "I ain't really into that internet, but if it's up, it's up," signaling that he was ready for whatever came his way. These words were a clear indication that the tension was far from over. Enter Quando Rondo, Youngboy's artist and right-hand man. As a signed member of Youngboy's Never Broke Again camp, Rondo essentially became a stand-in for his mentor in this conflict. His close ties to Youngboy meant he was caught in the crossfire of their ongoing feud with Von and his crew. Only the family. So when Von and Rondo crossed paths that night in Atlanta, it wasn't some random street encounter. It was a collision of two rival factions locked in an escalating war that had been brewing for years. The night Von was killed, the violence only added fuel to an already raging fire. Sources close to Quando Rondo later told TMZ that he felt his life was in danger during the altercation and believed his crew acted in self-defense. In the aftermath, Von's death only intensified the animosity, with Rondo's camp, including Youngboy, facing increased heat from Von's crew, notably Lil Durk. The months that followed saw multiple public confrontations between Lil Durk, Quando Rondo, and NBA Youngboy, with no resolution in sight. On November 15, 2020, King Von was laid to rest in his hometown of Chicago, with legions of fans and fellow artists coming together to honor his legacy. But despite the public outpouring of love, the story didn't end there. The cycle of retaliation, revenge, and escalating violence continued, spilling over into the years that followed. The loss of Von marked just one chapter in a much larger, ongoing saga, one that would continue to shape the landscape of rap and street politics for the foreseeable future. In October 2024, Lil Durk found himself arrested, allegedly for placing a bounty on Quando Rondo's head, believed to be an act of retaliation for King Von's death. This chilling development is a testament to the fact that these beefs don't just fade away, they evolve, grow, and extend long after the initial loss of life. Von's death didn't just end the tension, it amplified it, escalating the rivalry between Von's Only the Family crew and Quando Rondo's camp. Rondo continued to disrespect Von online in the months that followed, but this wasn't just idle internet talk. It was real, raw street beef, one that led to consequences far beyond the digital world. To understand the depth of this conflict, it's important to look at the environment that shaped King Von, particularly the Chicago drill scene. The rap scene in Chicago is tightly woven with gang culture, and for Von, his ties to the Black Disciples, BDs, were a significant part of his identity. This connection wasn't just about music, it was a fundamental part of his survival and reputation in the streets. Growing up in Parkway Gardens, known as O Block, Von was immersed in one of the most dangerous environments on Chicago's South Side, an area notorious for constant shootings and gang activity. This backdrop was not just a setting, it was the foundation that shaped Von's persona, music, and outlook on life. O Block, where Von spent his formative years, was a place where violence was a constant. He saw his friends and family fall victim to the harsh realities of street life, and this trauma seeped into his music. In his hit track Crazy Story, Von vividly painted a picture of life on his blog, reflecting the raw, brutal experiences that defined his world. He rapped about his survival and the emotional scars that came with it, sharing with the world the stark realities of his upbringing. Their relationship was more than just professional. It was built on deep trust, loyalty, and brotherhood. In the streets, when your brother is taken from you and the justice system seems to turn a blind eye, the unspoken code is clear: get back. And that's exactly what Durk did. Though it took years, his actions would reverberate throughout the entire rap world, shaking the very foundation of the industry as the cycle of violence and retaliation continued. The loss of Von not only impacted his family and crew, but also became a symbol of the larger, unyielding conflicts that pervade street culture and the toll they take on everyone involved. On October 26, 2024, almost exactly 4 years after King Von's tragic death, Lil Durk was arrested under federal charges for allegedly orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot targeting Quando Rondo. According to the federal indictment, Durk reportedly placed a bounty on Rondo's head, offering a significant amount of money and music opportunities to anyone willing to eliminate Rondo. The feds claim that Durk used coded language to make it clear he was willing to pay for Rondo's death, demonstrating the level of seriousness behind the plot. Durk allegedly recruited a group of 5 associates: Kayvon London, Grant Vonnie, DeAndre Dantrell Wilson, D.D. Keith Jones, Flacka David Bryan, and Asa Houston Boogie, to carry out the hit. All of them were charged alongside Durk with conspiracy to commit murder for hire. The plan unfolded in August 2022, with Durk allegedly funding the operation, even using an F credit card to cover flights and hotels in Los Angeles for his crew. The feds later used this paper trail as key evidence against him. The group traveled to LA with a clear mission: to find Quando Rondo. On August 19, 2022, they spotted Rondo and his cousin, Savia Lil Pab Robinson, at a gas station near the Beverly Center in West Hollywood. The group opened fire with automatic weapons, aiming for Rondo. However, in a tragic twist, Rondo managed to escape unharmed, while his cousin, Lil Pab, was fatally shot. The federal authorities built their case against Durk using financial records that traced payments back to his label, F, and over 230 gigabytes of digital evidence, including recordings and surveillance footage. Some reports even suggest the involvement of an informant who may have provided insider information. For Lil Durk, this alleged retaliation was driven by deep loyalty and the unspoken street code. In the world of drill music, when your brother, someone as close as family, is taken from you, doing nothing is often seen as a betrayal. Durk, as Von's day one and the leader of the OTF camp, felt the need to exact revenge. However, his actions have now led to serious legal consequences. Durk is currently locked up, awaiting trial set for October 2025, with his bond request denied. The judge has deemed him a flight risk, recognizing his influence and the potential danger his freedom could pose. Beneath the headlines, the social media beefs, and the music industry drama, there are real people struggling with a devastating loss. King Von was only 26 when his life was tragically cut short. He had so much more ahead of him. Family, friends, and fans were left wondering what could have been. At the heart of Von's story lies tragedy. A young, talented artist whose life was stolen by the same street violence he often rapped about. The aftermath of his death also highlighted the complications of grief, particularly with the tensions between his sister and ex-girlfriend over who truly had the right to define his legacy. What's clear is that King Von made a lasting impact in his short time on this earth. His music connected with people on a deep level, and his story continues to resonate with fans and loved ones alike. His death serves as a grim reminder of how a feud that begins with words can all too often end with bodies dropping. King Von's legacy will live on, though it's bittersweet, as his untimely death leaves a void in both the rap game and the hearts of those who knew him.